Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
If you like listening to the Poadcast, check out Made in India with May, the best Indian indie music podcast in the country.
You're listening to the Poadcast, presented by the Daily Pal.
This is Pranuti.
And Amit.
And we're from thedailypow.com, a Bombay-specific culture and food website. And this is our weekly podcast, The Poadcast. Now, in this episode, which is an installment of Metro Station, in which we talk about city news and history, we're going to be interviewing Rihen Ajmera, who is the founder of Awestrich, a walking tour company. So stay tuned for Metro Station.
Hi, I'm Amit Verma, the host of the weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen. In my show, I examine the seen effects and the unintended consequences of public policy and private action. I show how policies meant to help the poor often end up hurting the poor. I've done episodes so far on demonetization, GST, surgical strikes, immigration and MRP. And I will continue my forensic assault on the truth in the weeks to come.
Catch the show every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you prefer. Or visit seenunseen.in for all the latest updates.
Metro Station.
So in this episode, which is an installment of Metro Station, in which we talk about city news and history, we have with us Rihen Ajmera, who is the founder of Awestrich. Now, in the intro, I'd said Awestrich is a walking tour company, but it's not just that. So do you want to tell us what exactly it is?
Yeah. And you can also tell us why it's called AWE, Ostrich as an ostrich.
Okay. So I'll take one question at a time. The first question, Pranuti. We're not only like a walking tour company because we have a lot of unique experiences. We started with walking tours, like you rightly said, but we want to go beyond tours. Okay. Ostrich, if you go to see our website, we've not used the word called tour anywhere on the website because we want to give local experiences offered by local people in Mumbai. Right. So we're not only limited to walks, but we have a lot of unique experiences curated on Ostrich. And to answer your question, I get that quite a lot, but just to simplify things, Ostrich is my favorite bird.
Okay.
And I could not get the domain ostrich.com.
Okay.
And the reason why I got the name Ostrich is because it's the fastest land bird in the world.
Uh-huh.
And so I tried to play with the words.
Okay.
I got awesome and Ostrich and I tried to make a word out of it.
Yeah.
And after doing some research on Google, I realized that no brand till now has really capitalize on this word called Ostrich.
Okay.
So I thought, let's just give it a shot.
Yeah, because it's kind of an ironic name for somebody who's offering immersive experiences that you named after a bird that's known to immerse its head in the sand.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell us about some of these immersive experiences aside from walking tours?
Yeah, perfect. So we just launched experiences in Mumbai, which are, we launched like Mumbai's first graffiti workshop, which no one else offers. Apart from that, we even have like food experiences, at home food experiences, which is again very unique. So let's say you want to have a Bengali home food experience or a Mughlai home food experience. It's something that we deliver. At the same time, we are even exploring the hip-hop culture of Bombay. We're going to have like b-boying experiences. So we've heard about the Dharavi project and a lot of these things, but we do not know what happens behind the scenes. And our aim is to really uncover and discover these experiences and make people known about which all different experiences can be done in Bombay beyond walks that are there.
So can you describe like this graffiti experiences to people? What do people do? They just go and see all the graffiti that's around, or are they actually shown how to do graffiti themselves?
So the graffiti workshop is being conducted by experts. Like these guys are proper graffiti artists who've gone to London and a lot of other places around the world to...
You can name them if you like.
So the name is Enemy, one is named Zen. So they have these like different code names. They never reveal their real names.
Yeah.
They never go by their real name, the first name. They always go by their tags, then the name tags that they're given. Because they're artists.
Yeah.
And so the graffiti experience is one of its kind because it's not only a workshop where you'll be spray painting, but you'll be going beyond that. So just to give you like a simple example, so if you come for this experience, you would be learning about the history of graffiti, like why people started doing graffiti in the first place, why that entire trend really started. And it did not start in India, it started in Europe and the western side of Europe because of the Berlin Wall, a lot of people who are agitated. They run you through the history of the graffiti art, and the workshop will take you around, like they'll show you some documentaries. So it's a 4-hour immersive experience. It's not only like you'll just come, spray paint and then go home. So you actually learn about them, you know about the people who are conducting these experiences, know them better, because we're about people, places and stories. It's not
and
only
you'll
about
actually
places.
go and make people paint on walls, which is
Yes,
technically
yes. So
illegal, but
So we've actually partnered with, so the guys who are conducting this experience, they've actually partnered with a couple of cafes, and they've partnered with a couple of residential buildings to spray paint their walls. So they've actually taken prior permissions before doing it to stay clear from the legal aspect.
So you won't have any cops coming in,
Hopefully,
busting
hopefully.
people who signed up for your
Hopefully we won't.
experience.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's hope
Well,
not.
tell us about how you started Awestrich. You started in 2016. That's
Yes.
last year.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind it? What was your starting point?
and because you're also very young, because I think maybe one of the youngest people we've had on our podcast.
Oh, is it?
Maybe you're the youngest person.
So
22 years old, listeners.
So actually for me, firstly, age has never been a barrier to start something. To just give you a little background about myself, I graduated from NM College in 2015. I founded the entrepreneurship development cell of my college in my pre-final year, and I covered stories on 50 entrepreneurs from NM College, and that really inspired me. So Awestrich was not by force, but actually by choice. So I was working at a tech company, and if you read my blog on my website, I've written like a short story on how Awestrich started. So my cousin and I, we'd gone on a backpacking trip to Japan during my working stint at a direct I was working at. So there I had booked Airbnbs to stay at and like meet local people in Japan, in Naoshima, like a really small city in Japan. And what happened was that when I met these people, like my night stay was sorted, but what do I do during the day? I did not want to go for like really generic tours and expensive tours which show you places but do not help you interact with people. So one night I was just in my Airbnb and I meet my roommate. He was from Germany and he comes and told me like, you're from Mumbai, right? I'm just, yeah, I'm from Mumbai. And then he happened to tell me like, okay, I visited Bombay last year and I went to these amazing places like Banganga, Dharavi. And I was like, wow, like it's been 20 years since I've been in Bombay. I've never visited these places at all. And I realized that he knew about Bombay much more than I knew about Bombay. And similarly with my friends, I've often seen that we go out for movies, but we don't know about our own city. Like, having stayed 20 years in Bombay, I've never been to Banganga. I've never been to Dharavi. I did not know, like, how huge the industrial side of Dharavi is. Like, a multi-billion-dollar industry within, like, a few acres of space. So I happened to come back to Bombay and I went to all these places, visited them myself with my friends, and I realized that we, being a part of Bombay, did not know about Bombay. So Awestrich is not only about people who come from outside Bombay, but people from within Bombay. And that's what I saw the problem was, to educate people and to have these unique experiences and deliver them to people by the people. Because I feel that the kind of knowledge that people have within Bombay or within the different cities in India that I've traveled to is amazing and is so cool, but they don't have a platform or a medium to showcase their knowledge from a practical perspective.
Yeah, and what's interesting about your walks is that I think that you package them slightly differently. So you do a Girgaon walk, but you do it from the aspect, you do a Gamdevi walk, and you do it from the aspect of social movements. And you do a fort walk, but you do it via bookstores in the area, right? So, like, is that how did you come up with these ideas? Because, like you mentioned, like, though you mentioned places like Dharavi and Banganga, which quite a few people haven't been to, but there are places those are places that a lot of people do conduct tours of.
Exactly.
So you have chosen to do these similar places like Gamdevi, has a lot of history, so does Girgaon, but you decided to sort of package it in a different fashion. So how did you think of that? And do you want to talk about some of those?
Sure. So my idea was that when I start Awestrich, I want to give unique experiences. I did not want to do generic. And that is quite difficult for me to market it, to get the demand right for these experiences, because they're very niche experiences. So the Girgaon walk, basically, it's been done by a local of Girgaon, by someone who's lived Girgaon in the past 25 years, Siddharth Fundekar, who takes up this walk. It's something which is very unique.
He conducts walks for you.
Yeah, he conducts walks for us. He's like our native.
Right.
He's also a native manager now at Awestrich. So he's the one who even does the Parivartak walk, which is a social reform walk, which you wouldn't really find anywhere else. Like a very unique walk where you discover the social aspect of the social reform movement of India, how people, the intangible and tangible side of the social reform side of India, like that you can see in that. Starting from Nara Chowk all the way till Girgaon.
Yeah.
So we have these unique experiences, these blend of experiences.
And your Fort Walk, which took place recently, the Fort bookstores. Now, do you just go to all the bookstores, or do you also point things out on the way?
It's a mix of both. So the Fort Walk that we had, it was in association with INTAC.
Which is, do you want to just tell people?
Yeah, sure. INTAC is a heritage conservation company, not a company actually, it's recognized by the government. So INTAC is a
it's the Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage.
Yeah, I don't know the full form, but yeah.
We list this like practically every week.
Yeah. So it's an art and a culture heritage trust INTAC. So we did that in association with INTAC. This walk was done in association with INTAC. So we already wanted to do a book experience, and they came to us saying that Rihen, we are interested in doing a book walk around the fort area.
Yeah.
And we're like, sure, why not do that? Because we are ourselves planning one. And this bookstore walk, we are covering some amazing book places which people don't even know about. Like the People's Bookstore is like a communist bookstore in Bombay which no one knows about. So the places we're covering in this book walk, plus we're meeting each and every curator. So when we go to a bookstore like a Strand bookstall, you're not only seeing the books, but you're meeting the owner, Vidya Virkar, who now owns Strand, and trying to understand that, okay, what, like, the paradigm shift that's taken place in the entire reading space, not only in India, but globally, because of Amazon or Kindle that's coming. So you're calling paperback lovers back to this experience and getting like-minded people and a community of book lovers to come for an experience that is not only about heritage of fort, but it's going much more beyond that.
And how do you do research for your experiences? I mean, have you been, reading local history books, or what kind of research have you been doing?
So what we do is we essentially do not curate experiences ourselves. I have a native manager called Siddharth who takes care of all the natives in Bombay, in Delhi and Varanasi. He overlooks all these three places. So we call people who take up these experiences, they call natives. So a native can be anyone. They can be like an entrepreneur, a student, a professor, a designer, an author, a tour guide. Anyone who has something to showcase or an experience to deliver can become a native. So we have like checks for each and every native that who partner with us, and the entire research is something they come up with. So we have a native manager who vets each and every native for credibility, for safety, for security, for genuinity. And once we get them on board, we actually go for a demo experience. So till now in Bombay, I have myself gone for each and every demo experience that takes place and vetted whether they are fit for Awestrich or not to maintain that sort of quality. In terms of if they need any support for knowledge-wise in terms of history or the heritage aspect of it, we have the native manager, we have our resources. We even have a team member called Ritu Jadhav who first joined us, and he has done his MA in ancient Indian culture. So we have like a team of people who always are ready to give that kind of knowledge if anyone needs it.
And what about Siddharth? Does he also have a background in history? I mean,
he does not have a background in history, but he's a trail fan. He's a real fan, and at the same time, he's preparing for his UPSC examinations. So he is quite intellectual, and he loves reading, and it's his passion. So he also conducts the Parivartak walk, the Girgaon walk. So he was a native first, but then he joined us as a native manager too.
And do you want to give us a couple of examples of the, when you talk about a social reform walk, what are the kind of places that you take people to?
The Parivartak walk, where you get to know about the pioneers of women education and town planning in Mumbai, where we take you to the place where India's first practicing lady doctor set up a clinic.
So how do you find these guides or natives that you, basically enlist to conduct all these events?
So firstly what we do is we had a scholarship program called Sparkle, where we went to colleges, and so what we realized was I went to Xavier's College in Mumbai, and I spoke to a lot of professors, and tried to understand the job scenario after the students graduate in history, ancient Indian culture, And I realized there's a 10% decline in all the number of students who take up these courses because they find fewer job prospects. My aim was to curate like the essence of micro-entrepreneurship by giving them job opportunities. So I conducted lectures in Jai Hind, educated people about what we do. So we got a lot of students volunteering to become natives.
Okay.
At the same time, we even had Facebook campaigns where we asked people who are interested in this field. Targeted marketing on Facebook helped us get a lot of leads. And slowly, like, people got to know about us. They started applying themselves.
Okay. And now, among your experiences, what do you find are the popular ones? Like, you do food experiences, you do things like graffiti, hip-hop, etc. And you do walks. So what do people opt for most?
Right now, it's been walks, actually, because majorly, if you see, 70% of our experiences are walks.
Okay, so how many do you have at the moment?
We have 15 experiences in Mumbai.
Okay.
We have 10 experiences in Delhi.
Okay.
And we have 5 experiences in Varanasi.
Okay, and the walks, that's 15 walks or 15 experiences?
There are 15 experiences,
okay.
out of which around 8 of them are walks.
Okay.
So, like, it's majorly walks right now. That's how we started with.
Yeah.
But now we're getting more and more other unique experiences.
Okay.
And when did you start in Delhi and Varanasi?
So, Delhi we launched last month. Varanasi we launched this month.
Okay. And why Varanasi?
So, Bombay, if you see, is a city where you see a lot of foreigners, but they're mainly business travelers and not leisure travelers. Varanasi as a city attracts a lot of leisure travelers from within India also and even outside India, which you not see in Bombay. And Varanasi as a place has a lot of culture, a lot of history, a lot of essence about Indian culture, which people want to know about. Not only foreigners, but even locals. So Varanasi was one city that I felt with which I could connect to. And after my due diligence and after talking to friends in Varanasi, I realized that that's the next place that I really want to try out. Plus, there's nothing. Plus, Varanasi does not have like an organized way of conducting experiences, which I felt that was really required in such a beautiful place.
And in Bombay, so we've listed some of your walks on our site.
Yeah.
We've listed, I think, the Girgaon, Gamdevi, and the Fort Walk. What are the other ones that you have?
In Bombay, we are now coming up with the oval contrast.
Okay.
And we're coming up with a Kala Ghoda walk.
Okay, Kala Ghoda and oval. Yeah. And you said about 8. So which were the others?
The others in Bombay are, one is the Sobo Lyre, which is like a Sobo walk.
Okay.
Which will talk about, which will show you the South Bombay aspect of it in a very different and a really fun manner.
Okay.
That's called the Sobo Lyre. That's Sobo Lyre.
As in somebody lying.
Yeah. So it's a game actually revolving around the entire experience.
Okay.
So it's a very unique experience conducted by the native. He is a graduate from St. Xavier's College.
Okay.
But it revolves around an entire lie. That's around the South Bombay area.
Okay. And so all your natives, they're all fairly young, right? So they're all around like pretty much people who have graduated fairly recently.
A lot of them are young. A lot of people that we even have are even married in Delhi, in Varanasi. We got
married doesn't necessarily mean old.
But then they're fairly old. Like, you won't only find students, but you'll even find people between the age group of 25 to 30 taking up experiences and interested in becoming natives.
Okay. Cool. And how do you price these? Because your walks, I think, are around 500 rupees, right?
Yes.
So how do you come up with the pricing for something?
So pricing is something that is decided by the native. The native comes up with a price. They're like, okay, this is what we want to charge per person. We give the native to decide and give them the liberty to come up with a price. Though Awestrich as a company always recommends in terms of what is the price range that should be done for every experience, because what we do from our end is we do a sentiment analysis. What we do is we have an experience that's come on board. We will actually showcase that experience to 3 different people of different age groups, different genders, and try to gauge that, okay, whether they will really pay for this experience or not. Out of which those 3 people will even go for the demo experience with me.
Okay.
And they'll give like a suggestive pricing that, okay, this walk should be priced at this charge, or this walk should be priced at this amount. Yeah. So we get an overview of different perspectives, post which we give our suggestions to the native, and he usually incorporates that because that's something that he believes in.
And you all take a commission from this?
Yes, we work on a proper commission model.
Okay.
We take a commission on each and every booking that's taken place via our platform.
And we had just one last question, which is, tell us your favorite bit of Bombay trivia.
So my favorite bit of Bombay trivia would be something that was told about by a colleague of mine, that there is a gateway of India in the Gamdevi side of Bombay, which people do not know about really. Like, there's the architecture behind the one who made the gateway of India. I do not know his name right now, but he even made like a miniature version of Gateway of India in the Gamdevi area.
That's right.
Which not a lot of people know about. And when I saw it, I was, and it's in a very dilapidated situation right now inside a building. And when I saw that, I was really awestruck looking at it. I was like, okay, I never knew about this.
You were ostriched.
Yeah, I was ostriched looking at it.
Thanks so much for being on our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, so that's all for this episode, and we'll be back next week. For more on what's happening in the city, read thedailypow.com. Also subscribe to our newsletter on the website. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're The Daily Pow. You can find new episodes of the podcast every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you prefer, and on thedailypow.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.